All right, so we're good on 1, 2. I got the complaining when it started at 3, yes? Okay, let me get to 5. So 3, shh, guys. Okay, let me do 3 first, right? So 3 says points B, C, and E, B, C, E, and Q are coplanar. C, E, and B are coplanar, right? But as soon as you bring Q in, you're now off that plane. Okay, so that's false. 5 says another name for plane G, which would be this blue one here, right? Because that's a capital G, is Q, E, C. So Q's again, Q's in that air. E and C would be fine, and any other point besides Q would have been fine, but Q is above it. That's a different plane. We go to on any other ones between 1 and 5? Okay, 4 says C, E, and B. Oops, let me erase it. C, E, and B are collinear. E and B are collinear, right? But I can't draw a line through all of them. So A, E, B would be collinear. C, E, D would be collinear. But you can't have 2 on one line and then 1 not on that line. 4. Okay, then you got the distance, right? So number 9, well, first of all, let's do distance formula is x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. So if I use these, I get the square root of 2 minus 3 squared plus 7 minus 4. Negative 1, 3, and I get 1 plus 9, which is 10. And 10's underneath the root. 10 breaks down to 2 and 5, but none of those repeat, right? Only if it repeats can you take it outside the square root. So it stays the square root 10. Dante.
Wait, you have to break it.
You have to break it down to see if it can be simplified. But if you break it down till it hits the primes. So but if it can't, then you leave it.
It would be simplified and you left it as 10, it would be like,
so if it was square root 12 and you left it as square root 12, you lose points. It's got to be simplified. Yeah. Okay, so and then the rest, who had 10? You guys got square root 122, but you broke it down further, right? So this would be 2 and 61. And what goes into 61? Nothing. There's no repeated term, so it stays as square root 122. Okay? Nicely done, sir. How about 11? Who else said that? Gio, you said that?
No.
Okay. 11, yep. So if I break it down, negative 1 minus a negative 8 plus 8 squared plus 3 minus 0 squared. 49 plus 9, 58, right? And then I would do the same thing. So that's 2 and 29, and 29 can't go any further. Okay, so 10, this is 6 minus 5 squared plus negative 1 minus 10 squared. 1 squared plus negative 11 squared. 1 plus 121, 122. Be really careful with these. These should not be the ones that stump you. You just got to be really careful, especially with your change of signs. Like, you guys tend to make mistakes there.
For 11, it was 58, right?
Yep. Careful, you don't want to make mistakes on that stuff. Like, that's silly mistakes to make. All right, how about from 2 to 16? 12 to 16. Who needed these?
12.
Which one? 12. Oh, the lovely midpoint, endpoint one. You guys are going to get this right. I have faith in you. Says the midpoint of AB is 9, 7, one endpoint, 3, 9. Find the other endpoint. So remember, it is x1 plus x2 over 2 equals the x coordinate of the midpoint. And then y1 plus y2 over 2 equals the x or the y coordinate of your midpoint. So this is my midpoint. Don't confuse these. Be really careful. The m is the midpoint. So this is my xm, ym. This is my endpoint. This is my x1, y1. So 3 plus x2 over 2 equals 9. And 9 plus y2 over 2 equals 7. So then from here out, it's the same steps. Multiply by 2. I get 3 plus x2 equals 18. Subtract the 3. And x2 is 15. Same thing on the other side. Multiply by 2. These cancel. 9 plus y2 equals 14. Subtract the 9. And y2 is 5. And so my coordinate points are 15, 5. Sure. Okay, 15 says, given that KHJ, which is this full angle here, is 90, find the measure of angle LHJ, which is the lower one. So this is your angle addition postulate, right? If I know this whole thing is 90 degrees, then 8x minus 1 plus 4x plus 7 is 90 degrees. 12x plus 6 is 90. 12x equals 84. Divide by 12. And x is 7. But it didn't ask for 7, it asked for, or x, it asked for the measure of angle LHJ. So I got to take and plug that back in here. 4 times 7 plus 7, 28 plus 7, which is 35 degrees. So be really careful, make sure you're reading your instructions. You don't want to get something wrong because of the directions. Yep.
For number 16, I didn't put like 77 degrees and 77 degrees. I just put 77 degrees.
It's 2 answers. So probably if it was a question like this on your test, you're going to see 2 blanks. Do it twice.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if that would happen, to be honest. Like, I don't think it's going to happen. I don't know what I would grade it if it did, but just it would probably have 2 blanks, so it would be a reminder to do it. Homework wise, you're fine. Yeah, it's fine. And then what did we say? 14 too? Yes. Okay, so you had to erase this off again. Not highlight, erase. It said, trace the diagram, extend the rays, use the protractor to measure. Classify it as acute, obtuse, right, or straight. Okay, so if you actually pull in that protractor, really careful. Again, if this was a test, I'd try to be really clear. Like I'd say, find the measure of the angle and then classify it, then you'd know it's 2 parts.
So tomorrow we're going to use protractors?
Not in your test. No, you won't need a protractor. If you were to measure, you'd see like a protractor and then like on your paper and then the actual angle drawn. Yeah, you won't have to use the protractor itself. Questions?
Yeah, last one. How'd you get 54 for 13?
13 said line T bisects CD. So you've got CD bisects at point M. So there's a line that's passing through here in some way, right? So it bisects, which means it's hitting at the midpoint. Cut it into 2 equal parts. So if CM is 3x and MD is 27, because it bisects it, those are equal to each other. So 3x would equal 27. X would equal 9, and then it said find CD. So you can either double this. You didn't even need to do that. If it said like find X and CD, then you would set them equal to each other, but you could also just have doubled that 27 because it's 2 times that length, which is 54. Or you could plug it back in, you get 27, and 27 plus 27 is 54. Yep.
I noticed for 35, the answer was already there.
Yeah, the one that I gave you?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay.
I didn't notice that until after.
Yeah.
How do you know when to like double the answer? Like, for example,
So it all depends on what it's asking for. Like, be so careful because it's going to happen. Pay attention to what it's asking for. If it had just asked for CM, now it's only half of it. But it asked for CD, which is the whole segment. I can't stress how important it is to make sure you read so carefully. Because if you give like the X and not the segment, or part of the segment, not the whole, like you just want to be really careful. Same thing for the angle. Other questions? Yep. 12. Oh, that's when I worked out already. So it gives you team talk 5 seconds where you can't answer. You can't answer yet. Now you can answer.
Oh my God, wait.
Oh. Let's keep it that way. The harder you hit it, is not the faster. How are you moving up? Everybody's the same. You don't be upset because you got it wrong. Don't be mad. You got no one to be mad about yourself. A, B, C. All right, now we're starting to see some separation. One and three would have been an answer. What else is an answer? 4 and 2. Good. Yep. Five seconds. All right, so these two are linear pair, right? These two are linear pair. These two are linear pair, or these two are linear pairs. So if you have vertical angles like that, then there's like 4 pairs of linear pairs, right?
I was looking for the first 3 I couldn't find. It was fine for the last one I found.
Okay. Be careful the way that you name these too. Like if this is a question on your test, you cannot use D because why? Because D is shared by more than one angle, right? So you'd have to use 3 letters. You always want the vertex to be in the middle. So really be careful here. Oh, now you have to do the math. You can split your screen, or you can use the other iPad. IOK. IOK is 40, IOJ is 3x minus 7, and JOK is 7x minus 3.
I didn't even do the math, ma'am, and I clicked on one.
All right, listen. This is your angle addition. Hey, this is your angle addition postulate, right? IOK was the big angle, yes? Wait, let me see the media. Right? So I had to do 40 equals 3x minus 7 plus 7x minus 3. 40 equals 10x minus 10. 50 equals 10x. X equals 5. Then you had to take it and plug it back in, right? What does it say? IOJ? Wait, I need the picture. IOJ, yep. So to take it, plug it back in, IOJ. 3 times 5 minus 7. 15 minus 7. Wait, that's wrong. It should be 12. Yeah, they did. It should be 12. 12 degrees. Does that make sense? Yes, X was the 5. I did this on purpose to see how quickly you can make a mistake. I didn't do it on purpose. 5, right, but I wanted IOJ. 3 times 5 is 15. 15 minus 7 is 8. Is 8. It should be 8. It should be 8. All right. ABC is bisected by ray BD. If angle ABD is 4x plus 22 and measure of angle DBC is 12x minus 2, find the measure of angle ABC.
It's 54.
Alright, so if they're bisected, what's true about those two angles? They equal each other. You solve that, you get x is what? What do you get if x, what for x?
3.
If you solve it, 4x, right? 4x plus 22. And then what do you do with the 3? Plug it back in. What does that give you? 34, which is half, right? You need the full big angle, which is why you double it. Okay. Then move closer. What would you like me to do? Get you better vision? That's not in my skill set.
Yellow. No, not you. You hit my hand. Why would you click that? You hit my hand.
It's a good thing these things don't count for grade. It's a good thing these things don't count for grade. Mateo, how did you get that it was blue?
So I just put them together.
Okay.
Equals 180. I subtracted 26 from 180 and divided 14 by 154.
Okay, so x was, what do you say?
154
Okay.
by 14, x equals 11, and then equals 11.
X equals 11, and then what? Plug it back in, right?
Plus 7 equals 95.
We got 85.
Okay, remember linear pair is 180. What else is 180?
A straight angle.
What else? Supplementary, yes. Vertical angles, you don't know anything about their measure. Yet, we will eventually, but you don't know anything yet.
Where's DBC? Okay.
Like I'm telling you right now, that's one of the mistakes you're gonna make the most tomorrow. Don't do that.
We're being rushed.
I know you're being rushed. I'm gonna chuck it up to that you're having anxiety from the pressure. But tomorrow you're gonna have anxiety because of your test. So be careful. Don't make those same mistakes.
Be careful.
Yo, Jose.
Bro, I can't see it, man. I'm like blind.
L is like on the corner, where the vertex is.
What's the 95 degrees?
That's the smaller one. So 153 is the full one. 95 is the smaller one.
Oh wait, I thought that was an N. That's a D. Oh my god. Yeah, that's so easy. That's so easy.
Wait.
It's
So easy.
Alright, so what's true about those two angles? They add up to 180. Add them together and set them equal to 180. You get x is what? 25. Plug it back in. 5 times 25. 125 plus 10 is 135.
The YouTube videos is answering the questions that are on my slide. And that's that. It's -15 degrees. Clearly.